What is up, guys? It's Doodoo Poker here, back for another video. Today we are going to be talking about how to play versus cold four bets when we are in position. In this hand, I have pocket sixes. I am on the button, and my opponent, who is a reg, is in the big blind. The cutoff raises first in. We decide to 3-bet, and our opponent cold four bets. Now he goes $40, which is 20 big blinds at 1-2. We have our pocket sixes. Let's see what theory does first, and then we're going to take a look at MDA. So cut off RFIs. We have our pocket sixes, which is a little loose but still good. And our opponent makes it 20. Now theory would go 21. Cutoff folds, and we have pocket sixes. Interestingly enough, eights and nines fold sometimes, but sevens and sixes call because of blockers. We have to think about how people are playing this spot in practice versus theory. I'm going to pull up some MDA for pre-flop cold 4-bet frequencies. This is cold 4-bet frequencies, practice versus theory. Let's look at our formation. Our formation is cutoff versus button versus big blind. Let's see if you can find it. Let's see cutoff right here versus button versus big blind. We see the theory is 5.2%. The practice is 4.1%. That means they're under cold 4-betting. We can see from here, see, it's really based on sizing. So because I'm going simple, it's going to be 5.8. But if you take all sizings, like if I put this on a smaller setting, it would be 5.2 or even lower. The main thing to understand is that population is under cold 4-betting. A lot of hands like ace-10 suited, king-10 suited, ace-queen off, nines, eights, even hands like king-jack suited are not going to be in an average regs cold 4-betting range. We know this from the data. So the range is going to be a bit tighter. But he also went small, and we are a bit deeper. And what do we know about theory? The deeper you are, the bigger your cold 4-bet range should be. So I'll give you an example. In this spot at 100 big blinds deep, it goes 2.3, 7.5, 21. If I change this to 200 big blinds deep, now it goes 2.5, 8.5, 34. You want to go bigger sizing with your cold 4-bets because you want to hit target SPRs, stack to pot ratio. It's very important that you hit your target SPR. So when you're deeper, you go bigger. But we are around 100 big blinds deep, so he goes 20, which is still on the low side, but good enough. And we take a flop. The flop comes 10 of hearts, 9 of clubs, 4 of diamonds. Let's put this in our little solver. 10 of hearts, 9 of clubs, 4 of diamonds. Now we see, what do we see from big blind here? This is not a range bet. Most people will range for 1/4. That is their standard 4-bet strategy. On this board, you want to go bigger. We have the nut advantage if you're big blind. He does not do this. He uses a 1/4 strategy, presumably going for range. So how do we solve this if the solver is mostly going bet 50, but he went 25% pot? What we're going to do is we're going to go into the AI, and I'm going to pick 25% sizing. Now we see it's going 77.5%. He is probably ranging, but we're just going to leave this in here because we want to have some margin for error. Nothing else to do with pocket sixes but call. On the turn, we have a jack of spades, and my opponent bets again. What is his sizing on the turn? He bets 31-12 into 1. Let's look up the calculator. Hold on one second. We have the calculator here, 31-12. 31-12 divided by 128.50. This is going to be 25%. Yeah, around 25%. He goes 25% on the turn. Now let's go to our node lock sim. And again, with our sixes, well, now it's going to be mixed, but we have to go to MDA. First, I want to show you C-bet frequencies for flop MDA in 4-bet pots for the out of position pre-flop raiser. We see the field as the 4-bet pot out of position pre-flop raiser. This is cold 4-bet and all 4-bets, so everything is mixed together. We see they are c-betting around 77%, but we know on 10 and jack high boards that when you compare it to the aggregate, you c-bet less. You c-bet less on these jack and 10 high boards. Why? Because the 4-better has high frequency ace king. When they miss, you have to have a checking range on non-ace, non-king boards. So population is over c-betting on the jack and 10 high boards. Let's take a peek at turn data. Turn data, what do we see? We see when they go small on the flop, they are on the high end of GTO. If he went a bit bigger, they're on the lower end. In game, I have a 0 EV bluff catcher on the turn, but I know how to play rivers, which incentivizes me to call. In game, I call turn, and the river, a 7 of clubs comes. Now we have a decision. Now my opponent goes all in. Now we have to think. He goes all in. Do I think a hand like aces and kings will bet this thin? Let's look at data for bet lines for the 4-bet pot out of position pre-flop raiser. This is all positions field as 4-bet pot out of position pre-flop raiser, out of position versus in position. What do you notice? What sizing did he use on the river? Let's take a peek. We see he went 152 into 190. 152 into 190 is 80%. What does 80% say? Well, between 70 and 100, it is over bluffed. Remember, the green is over bluffed with low pair. So on this board texture, we see he's very polarized. He has a hand like king queen suited possibly, but I don't think he will bet a hand like aces or kings on this very scary run out. That means he's more polarized than theory. We also have to take a peek at Reg MDA in the bet 30 jam line at a position pre-flop raiser. What do you notice? You notice that the sizing is over bluffed. So 2 data points that show it over bluffed. Because he's too polarized, because he's probably not going to value bet a hand like aces or kings on this very scary run out, it makes calling easier. Because we know the triple barrel line is over bluffed, we also know he has a lot of ace king in range. And let's go to deviations. What do deviations say? Boards with the highest amount of bluffs by regs are jack and 10 high or lower. What is this board? This board is a 10 high board. Remember, on 10 high boards, you do not get range bets. You do not get the range bet on a 10 high board in a 4-bet pot because you have too much ace king. Players are not going to know this fact and over c-bet on 10 and jack high boards. We take all this into account and we decide to make the call. If you enjoyed this type of content, please give me a like, please give me a subscribe. New video every single day, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And I will see you guys in the next video. Take care.